Hey, and welcome to Guru Grok, Deep Life Talk with Guru Grok. You're going to find a lot of wisdom distilled here. If you're a young man trying to make your life excellent by making yourself a lot better at things, at skills, at understanding, at wisdom, at creating good things in your life, if you want to create health and wealth and all the success that comes with that, women, money, freedom, entrepreneurship, you're in the right place. We will distill a lot of wisdom here. Some of the wisdom you find out there is pretty obscure, but we'll help you to understand it better and make your life excellent. So first point, really critical for you. There's a lot of talk out there about this, no FAP and toxic masculinity, and a lot of that thinking is total nonsense. Your sex drive is health. Your sex drive is about as natural as it comes. The male sex drive is, one of the most powerful creative forces in the universe. So just want to let you know, very important, that all the talk about that's a negative thing is nonsense, and no FAP is ridiculously unreasonable. Of course, you don't want to be dominated by your sex drive. You want to dominate it and actually channel it and turn it into the power to make your life excellent by growing as a human being. So that is a critical issue, but there's just so much garbage out there. But your sex drive is to be embraced as what it is to be a man, a young Jedi, young warrior, someone trying to improve themselves and feeling that rush of desire and energy through you. That's as natural as it comes. So don't lose that caveman side of yourself, because Guru Grok is caveman for sure at one end, and highly refined scholar and athlete and warrior and academic at the other side. So that's a really good thing. And you'll also find us mocking what is mockable, because there's just so much garbage out there. The no FAP, again, is a pretty good example. But another good example is the advice to, for example, drink 8-ounce glasses of water each day. That's folly. That's saying that your own thirst mechanism, which is as natural as it comes, you can look at any animal, won't serve you, and that's just nonsense. Of course, we're human beings. We have reason, and so if you're going to train, then you're going to want to have some water beforehand, right? And use your mind. But the scripted idea of 8-ounce glasses of water is pretty much nonsense. If you just keep drinking water all the time, you're just going to overtax your kidneys, and your kidneys need rest, and you'll never let them rest, and you'll be sorry about that later in life when your kidneys go kaput. So that's just another example. We mock all the foolish thinking out there in order to help you see things better, to gain understanding. Critical message here. You're always going to want to return here for just straight up talk about growing as a man, and there's never been a better time in history than the one you're living in to get rich, to make your life healthy and wealthy. Now is the time. The internet, the digital revolution, is a complete game changer. You can learn virtually anything for free, get a good skill set, go market that, scale it, and use the leverage and power of the digital revolution to get rich easier than at any time in history. And there's just lots of information out there. So you need to learn how to think and then go out there and make good things happen, right? And the time is now, right? There's never a perfect time except now to start something. If you want to grow, start now. If you just read here and study here with Guru Grok, in just days you'll be best man in 10, say, and in weeks you'll start crawling up to best man in 100. In some months or a year, you'll be the best man in 1,000 by heeding the principles of Guru Grok. And down the road, when you get to 1 in 10,000 and 1 in 100,000, the best man in 100,000, you'll start reaching what Maslow called self-actualization. And whether that's because you want to be a warrior poet like me, or you want to be just a scholar, or you want to be the best businessman that ever lived, or you want to be a family man and have a fabulous wife and raise 2, 3, 4 kids, probably not more than that, because we are trying to keep the planet green. But whatever you decide to do, by applying principled thinking and principled living, you will definitely get ahead and just start surging ahead of all of your peers. And don't lose sight of the fact that because of scarcity, life can really be a competition. So to take on the mindset of a warrior who's both scholar and fighter, that's a really good idea. Another example of just garbage stuff that we mock and that we point out is the whole grain advice as far as diet. Your diet is absolutely critical for being healthy, for being happy, mental health, diet related. I would say that 90% of health, mental health, physical health, is going to be diet. There's some garbage talk out there about about maybe it not being quite so much. But if you just had a great diet, if you just have a really, really good diet, then you're going to be healthy and happy for the most part. You're going to have a good physique. Training is to have a good physique is 90% diet for sure. So you do not need to worry about training so much if you just have your diet right. You'll be lean. You'll have muscle and you'll be lean. You'll have good testosterone, and testosterone makes muscle on the male physique. So you don't need to be worried about training so much. Well, that's important, and we're going to talk a lot about training here on this channel, but it just needs to be wise about your training too. So people have questions about the name Guro Grok. Well, Guro is a Tagalog term for teacher that we use at the Magda Institute of Martial Arts, where I teach, or I used to teach anyway for some time. And it just means teacher. And I have been a teacher for a very long time, since I was a teenager. At 19 years old, I got my first teaching and coaching job. And I have teaching credentials from the state of California in 3 different subjects. That's history and physical education and science as well. So Guro that's the part of that name. It just means teacher. So the concept there is that on one side of being a man, I'm highly refined. I want to be able to use my mind, and I want to be an academic, and I want to know how to study, and I want to really, really refine my mind and my body too, with the power of that civilization brings, right? Its institutions and its culture, and there's so much opportunity in the West in civilization. You want to use that to the best of your ability and become a teacher. Eventually you get so good at the things you do, you teach them, right? And Grok is a caveman name. Ironically, the word Grok also means to understand something sort of intuitively, to have a natural inclination towards getting things and figuring things out, and maybe knowing what to say at the right time. So it's the idea of a teacher on one side, but also that Grok means caveman too, right? It's like a caveman name. Ironically, Mark Sisson, who's quite famous for his keto stuff and his primal living in his book, The Primal Blueprint, picks that name for the caveman. So that's what the name means, Guro Grok. It's my nom de plume, nom de guerre, alter ego. And so that's where I came up with that. And the idea there, of course, is to be a balanced man, a well-rounded person. If I were to list all the things that I can do and do quite well, you would have trouble believing it, actually. And the idea, you've probably heard the expression that, how does it go? It goes, a jack of all trade, but master of none. And we reject that. You have to reject that thinking and settle into something more reasonable, like jack of many trades and master of a few. If you can get to that point, then you know you've done good to master 2 or 3 things in your life that you're just really good at, but that there's also, dozens of things that you can do quite well. Then that kind of it's the generalists that will rule the world. Those people who can do many things, and including specialize in a couple of things. If you just over specialize, then you're stuck, right? So we definitely encourage well-roundedness here. You want to be a modern-day Renaissance man. You want to be a warrior poet, and the ultimate goal is to become an American Ubermensch. That's been my goal for a very long time, and that will require introspection, and that will require training the mind to really find sharpness there, and certainly keeping the body as physically capable as possible, because indeed that's the temple in which the warrior lives, right? Your body, you take care of your physical self, of course. And the entire mission of Guro Grok and Grok Style Innovation is to improve as human beings. I myself have been seeking to improve as a human being for a very long time. And our mission is to continue that, but to spread that to others, to help them grow, to help them to see, to help them to have the right mindset for growth, to help them recognize the connection between personal growth and excellence at life, and how personal growth leads to success. Critical issue there. And so with integrity and intelligence, we seek to really change the world that way, by changing people one at a time, by changing our own selves, and really living out these things and not being a hypocrite, because the hypocrites out there they abound. So finally, just a bonus here is today we'll talk about training briefly. You can train for free. If you have a place to hang, you can pull. And if you have a place that's flat, you can do all kinds of training for the rest of the body. You can do one-arm push-ups. You can do pistols or one-legged squats. And there's just a variety of things you can do. And of course, you can learn to move well like a warrior with shadow boxing and with weapons training. And if you have a heavy bag, you can start to really cultivate your power. The point is just that you don't need to get caught up with fancy. Fancy doesn't pay as far as training. You can do it on a zero budget, basically. And that will allow you to get started on the cheap. I'm just starting this right now. I'm taking the advice of Ali Abdaal to just start making content. I have a lot to teach, a lot to share with the world. And so I'm living super frugally right now. And so the message is be frugal, delay gratification, right? Be frugal. If you're a young man, be frugal and wait and start to build your income. And then as it steamrolls, as that flywheel gets going in the future, then it's the time to buy the G-Wagon. I want a G-Wagon. It's the time to buy a motorcycle. I want to ride a cafe racer as I did in the past. So those are some important lessons. And if you can lay hold of these things, then you will accelerate ahead of all of your peers. And just remember, you got to keep that balance. So many of the people out there that are advising young men are too caught up on the physical side of things. Of course, you want to be physically capable, and I'm very physically capable. I've been teaching a really, really highly evolved blend of mixed martial arts in the tradition of Bruce Lee to Daniel Inosanto to Casimir Magda to me. I've been teaching that for a very long time. So you definitely, the physicality of the man is really important, but to get too caught up in that is not good, because physically we're finite, and pretty soon you'll be 50, and if you're overdoing it, you're going to have shoulder issues. Just like me, I have some shoulder issues I'm dealing with. So there's an optimal amount of training there on the physical side, and when it's done right, it's just going to give you lots more time to sharpen this. This is the key. This is largely what makes me me, is my ability to outthink anybody that I've ever met. So that's an important lesson too. And then introspection, right? We are mind, we are body, we are spirit. Introspection, so that you can gain spirit, get in touch with spirit, and find goodness therein, and you will be a different person. So I sign off now, and as always, with nothing but love and respect, I salute you. Scholar and warrior together, I salute you, and I say, strength and health, wisdom and wealth to you.